Welcome to the Rendezvous with the Stars. Here we mark the first episode of Rendezvous with the Stars series beginning. Rendezvous with the Stars is a part of an educational series at Zenith Gaveliers Club. A series which focuses on enhancing the skills of a young Gaveliers, both as an interviewer and as an interviewee. It opens up a new platform for us to learn, get inspired and motivated by our own stars and other eminent personalities in and out of Qatar. Today we have with us Gavelier Anna George, currently a grade 11 student at Qatar Public School, Pala. She chose science with biology and computer group and aspires to be in the medical profession, following the path of her father, Dr. George. She studied in Birla Public School till 10th grade and was the school topper in 2020 board exams. She has been a part of Zenith Gaveliers Club from 2016 and has achieved her Component Communicator Gavelier certificate from Toastmasters International. She hails from Qatar and has been in Qatar for 9 years. Her only sibling is her elder brother Philip, who studies filmmaking in Mumbai. Her mother is a chartered accountant working in Ooredoo, and her father is a max-fac surgeon at Hamad Medical Corporation, Qatar. Anne's dream is to pursue a career in the research field and create a revolution for the betterment of humanity. Anne is a voracious reader, and this has helped her to improve her speaking skills leaps and bounds. She's a great evaluator and analyzes every speech perfectly and provides wonderful recommendations. Her other hobbies include watching TV shows, listening to music and baking. Let's welcome Anna to our show and listen to her success stories.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having me, and that was such a sweet introduction, so thank you for that.
We are very eager to know more about you, Anna. Could you please tell us a brief on your childhood?
Okay, so I was born and brought up in Kottayam, and I studied there till 2nd grade, after which I moved to Qatar, and I've been here for the past 9 years, and I studied in Birla Public School till 10th grade. This year, I'll be moving back to Kerala and continuing my 11th and 12th studies in Chavra Public School. That's my childhood, basically.
What kind of a child were you when you were little?
So I was always described as quiet and calm by my teachers, but my parents knew otherwise. They knew that I could be loud and stubborn. And they were right, actually. I was quite stubborn and fixed in my ways. If I wanted something done in a particular manner, I wouldn't accept it any other way. But nowadays, I'm a lot more flexible, which is good, and I can adjust. And school was never too difficult for me. I always scored well in tests as far as I can remember. But my parents did give me my freedom. They never insisted or like controlled me in any way to score well. It was always they just let me do whatever I wanted, and I feel like I was quite responsible with the freedom given to me. In my free time, I would either watch or read something, or go hang out with my friends, play football maybe, or go cycling, or just walk around if I was bored. And that's the kind of child I was.
You mentioned that you're a very good reader. Did being a voracious reader change your perspective or enhance your language command?
Yes, being an avid reader, I used to read fiction a lot. So that did change my worldview, and it did improve my vocabulary. For example, a few years ago, we used to have a bunch of activities and exercises in Gaveliers Club for improving our language skill. And I remember once we were being tested on our vocabulary, and on the activity, I somehow scored the highest, and I was surprised. but I would credit such accomplishments towards my reading as a kid that did improve my vocabulary. And in terms of perception, I feel like you can absorb different messages from other sources of media as well. You can get the same message through shows or movies, or if you are not the kind of person to sit and read for hours, then you can definitely listen to an audiobook or play a video game based on the book, watch the movie. All those things can also help you grasp the same message.
Could you please recommend some must-read books according to you?
I haven't really read in the past year or so because 10th was quite stressful and I didn't really have much time to spend reading. But something that has stuck with me is the books by the author Frederick Backman. Two of them that I've read is My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologizes. The story follows 7-year-old Elsa as she deals with the loss of her grandmother. And it's quite interesting to read because it has fantasy woven into reality. And another one is Mary Was Here. It has such a simple message. And it's a very nice story to read as well. So I would definitely recommend that you guys read it. Another one is the Hunger Games trilogy. It's quite popular, so I feel like a lot of you might have already read it. But if you haven't, then I would recommend reading it as a teenager so that you'll truly understand the things that the books are saying. But yeah, those are some of my recommendations.
So I'll definitely read those. So you mentioned that you play football, you walk around with your friends, and you do reading. So how do you manage your time and do the time slicing along with your studies?
I don't use timetables. I have tried using timetables to plan my day according to the time, but that didn't work for me personally because sometimes I either underestimate or overestimate the time required to do things. So now I've thrown out of schedule if I try to do that. So what has worked for me is to-do lists, but they may not work for you. Just experiment with whatever you have and then figure out what works best for you. For me, it was to-do lists. When we still had school, I would carry around a small notebook with me and then write down whatever I had to do for the day as I was assigned. So by the end of the day, I would have a list and I knew what I needed to do without forgetting it. And then I would prioritize what I needed to do and spend how much ever time it required to do it. For example, if I was sitting down to study, I wouldn't tell myself I have to study for 2 hours. I would say I need to finish these topics and then I'm free to do whatever I want. So that's the method that has worked best for me to manage my time.
So could you tell a wow or the proudest moment you had?
It was definitely scoring 98% in the boards this year. I was not expecting to score that well. And when the results came out, I was very surprised and very proud of myself for being able to achieve that. Something else is being able to having completed all 10 projects in Gavels Club. It was a long journey and I'm so glad that I was able to complete all 10. And presenting my final speech and receiving such positive feedback on that day was truly an incredible feeling.
We all know that you're a remarkable evaluator. Could you give us a few tips on your evaluation strategy?
I've gone a lot more in depth into this topic in a module called Evaluate to Motivate. So if you're looking to improve your skills, you can definitely check that out. The most important thing that you have to keep in mind as an evaluator is that you're providing honest and constructive feedback to the speaker. So you have to be truthful, but also helpful. So when you're pointing out the positives or the areas for improvement, try not to be vague. You have to go into details about what they've done well or what they could have improved. And if you do these things, then you'll definitely step up your evaluation.
So you told that you got a wonderful remarks and give feedbacks from the last speech which you presented. So from where did your journey as a Gavelier start and how was the journey?
I joined Zenith Gavels Club in 6th or 7th grade. And I will be grateful to our dear Gavelier Jocelyn for pushing me to join. At first, it was quite uncomfortable for me. It was a very new and unfamiliar environment, and I wasn't used to speaking in public like this. My mother had to help me with my initial few speeches, but then I slowly got better. I got used to the whole program, and Toastmaster Abarna and Toastmaster Hamid helped me a lot along the way. They were constantly encouraging me and pushing me to do better. Even the other Gaveliers, they were all so supportive and helpful. So I've become a lot more confident on stage while speaking. I'm not as scared as I was. And even for table topics and evaluations, thinking on my feet, I've gotten so much better, and I'm able to speak on stage a lot better than I used to be.
So where do you see yourself from 10 to 20 years from now?
This is a very difficult question to answer because you really don't know what the future holds for you. And in 20 years, I'll be 36 years old. We really don't know what's going to happen to us. But the best that I can hope for myself is that I'll be pursuing a career that I love, and that I'll be financially stable and settled somewhere in some city, hopefully.
So what is your advice to junior Gaveliers like me?
You have to keep in mind that you shouldn't be afraid to feel uncomfortable. I wish that I had known that a lot sooner, because then I might have pushed myself to do more. If you feel like something is difficult for you, then keep doing it till it's no longer difficult. Like something that I could give as an example was when I joined a contest for table topics. I went on stage, and once they gave the topic, I didn't know what to say. And I stood there, and it was such an awkward moment of my life. But that didn't stop me, and it shouldn't stop you either. You should keep pushing, even if you feel like you're not seeing some considerable growth. It takes time, but you'll get there eventually. And if you feel like you need help, then feel free to reach out to other Gaveliers or to the coordinators, because they will help you, and that will most definitely benefit you.
Thank you for joining us today on the Rendezvous with the Stars. I had a wonderful time with you and had a great talk. Hope you had a great time too. I wish you all the best for the journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Anushka, for having me here today. It was a wonderful experience being able to talk to you and share my experience with you. So I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you.
This marks the end of the first episode of Rendezvous with the Stars. We'll join you soon with more stars of Zenith Gavels Club and beyond. Thank you.